Joining an MCN. Do you guys know what an MCN is? It's an old thing that started on YouTube in 2009, 2010, somewhere in there, where you can join a network on YouTube, and in exchange for a percentage of your revenue on your channel, they'll give you services like a dashboard and technology and maybe sponsorship deals and merchandise and all sorts of services, a music library, you name it. They'll give you services in exchange for a percentage of your revenue. Is this type of business, a network, an MCN, a multi-channel network, beneficial for your channel? Should you partner with one, or is it a scam? If you Google any of these networks, there'll be nothing but videos talking about how they're a scam. Well, I am one of former executive in the #1 MCN of all time, the biggest one of all time, and I co-founded the biggest gaming network of all time. And I'm joined by a panel of my buddies here that are also senior managers and managers formerly in MCNs. And we're gonna let you know from the inside what the real deal is. Like Perrin, for example, knows a thing or two about MCNs, right?
Yes, I was a senior social media manager for the largest MCN, still are the largest. And so I have a lot of inside look at how the brands operate, how the marketing team looks at creators from a brand standpoint, and managing brands from different languages internationally as well. So I can really show you the expertise, or at least that direction that they saw from their perspective.
And how about you, Ross?
Yeah, I actually worked under these two cowboys here for about 4 years at an MCN. I got to do all kinds of fun social media stuff and got to work firsthand with creators. So I actually really have a good idea of what value they bring, and I'm excited to talk about it.
That's right. And Ross ran multiple creator brands at the same time, and Perrin ran multiple creator brands across multiple languages. We're going to bring that knowledge to you today because you need to make a sound, ice-cold business decision before you sign any agreements, before you sign any of your revenue away to a network or an agency. Don't sign the paper yet. Listen to this episode all the way to the end. All right, so you probably got an outreach message from one of these agencies, or these MCNs, we're calling them, and they told you, look, I want to hop on a call with you. I want to talk to you about what our network can do for you. I've got, sponsorship deals waiting for you around the corner. I got merchandise waiting for you around the corner. I've got maybe some mobile app or game I'm going to make for you waiting around the corner. They're going to tell you whatever it is that you want to hear to get you to sign, to give a percentage of the revenue to their company. And so I want to just kind of go around the table and just generally talk about, first things first, in 2020 and 2021, do you need to join a network in order to succeed as a YouTuber or creator? Or do you need to join an MCN or an agency? Do you have to have a management company, essentially, having the rights to your content, the rights to monetize your content, and having the sort of power over your YouTube channels primarily to succeed in 2020? What do you think, Perrin? I'm going to go to you first.
No, you don't need this now. You used to need this. And this is kind of the land that we came from while working in a company like this. Is creators, 5 to 8 or more like 8 years ago, needed to have a multi-channel network, and they needed to be one, even if you were small, because you needed the features. One, you needed the dashboard that was normally provided, which by a multi-channel network, which was a piece of developed software that was a service for creators to be able to look at what your revenue was month over month and look at your actual pay stubs. Like YouTube didn't have that at the time, so that was one of the most necessary services that creators were flocking to these platforms for. And then
YouTube didn't have a creator dashboard back in the day, and MCNs actually made them for creators. It was a huge service. Yeah,
so that was like where it was born, was that specific service, and that was important because creators needed to have some sense of security in their future, and without knowing what they were going to be paid by YouTube, they didn't have that without an MCN. So an MCN, that's kind of where, at least in my mind, the baseline came from. And then everything on top of that was bonus, like music rights to different music labels or music for creators to use. Library. Yeah, normally it's like a library that you could get access to. That one was like Epidemic Sound is a common one that MCNs would use. There was something with thumbnails too, right? I think in the early days.
Yeah, there's design services. Different MCNs will provide, or to agencies will provide design services potentially. And so one thing that's actually still good today, and that a lot of creators didn't take advantage of who were signed with an MCN, is that some MCNs, some agencies will make original branding for you. So let's say your branding is homemade and it kind of looks like a 3 out of 10. They actually have designers on board that'll make you a new avatar, a new banner, maybe some new basic graphics packages, maybe some overlays too, who knows, for your brand. And so it can kind of step up your brand up a little bit. And in a pitch deck and in a sales pitch, that sounds really, really valuable for somebody who's never had good branding. But do you need an MCN to do those things? No, but it's just one little cherry on top, basically, that they can throw in there that can kind of put a sparkle in your eye, right?
Yeah, so, and like I said in the beginning, 8 years ago, this was the standard. Most creators, even really small ones, were looking to this as a big step in their like creator journey. But what was actually happening was they were getting themselves locked into multi-year contracts with like a 60-40 revenue split, which means they would only make 60% of the revenue. The MCN was taking 40%. That was a common starting contract for a small creator. And what happened is if you would blow up, you would still be on that 60-40, and then you try to renegotiate. Maybe you could successfully, but maybe you couldn't. So it got a lot of small creators into doing really early contract like negotiations with MCNs, and it was a lot of noise and a lot of drama. You don't need that now. You don't need that cut taken away from you for those services. They really weren't worth it then, even with the dashboard, and they definitely aren't worth it now. So because YouTube already provides most of these services that you were looking for in the past now, and the requirements to even join an MCN have been increased consistently by YouTube over the years. So smaller creators, you really can't even look towards joining an MCN now unless you are basically already hitting medium talent levels. And so you don't have to worry about it anymore, at least in my mind. That's the thing. That was the thing with these MCNs. You have to understand that they're businesses. They're trying to make money, okay? So they're going to say that you as a creator are their number one focus, but their actual number one focus is to get as many good, successful creators in their network as possible and to spend as least amount of time and resources on each one so they can make the most amount of money. It just makes business sense. So think of it this way. They're going to talk like they have your best interest in mind. They likely do not. They're just trying to make money like any other business. And they're always going to make the decision that makes them more money, which is normally not spending more money on you, unless you are blowing up and becoming a crazy superstar. That's a different story.